Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help transform those stacks of information into, well, actionable insights.
Right. Cutting through the noise.
Exactly. Helping you get straight to the most important nuggets of knowledge. And today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey.
We've got quite a mix today.
We do. A rich collection of sources. We're talking strategic business frameworks, leadership principles, some crucial financial insights.
And even some, deeper philosophical perspectives on personal growth.
Yeah, the whole picture. Our mission for this deep dive, it's really to pull out those core ideas.
Ideas that equip you to navigate challenges, right?
Precisely. Make informed strategic decisions and ultimately make sure your daily actions align with what really leads to sustained success.
It's got a shortcut to being really well-informed on these connected topics.
That's the goal.
Yeah, and it's striking, looking at this material, how many seemingly separate ideas actually point towards common themes.
Like what kind of themes?
Well, the huge importance of having clarity in your purpose, for one, understanding, human behavior dynamics in organizations, and uncovering those foundational elements of what creates enduring value. For businesses, sure, but also for us as individuals.
So connecting the dots between, say, how big companies succeed or fail.
Exactly, and what those lessons mean for your own goals, your own path forward.
Okay, let's unpack this wealth of information then. We'll kick things off by exploring the essence of strategy and competitive advantage.
What makes a business truly powerful?
Yes. Then we'll pivot into leadership, teams, culture, how that's built.
The people side of things.
Right. Then we'll plunge into finance and markets, untangling long-term investing from maybe short-term noise.
And maybe even looking at some of the darker corners there too.
Definitely. And finally, we'll bring it all back home. Personal agency, continuous growth.
How your inner world really impacts your outer success. It all ties together.
It really does.
Okay, let's start. Crafting enduring strategy and competitive advantage.
So our journey begins with strategy. And our first stop is Hamilton Helmer's work, 7 Powers. It's a really robust framework.
It really is.
And it suggests that true strategic success isn't just about being, generically strong.
Right. It's about possessing specific, defensible types of power.
I find that distinction incredibly helpful. It moves away from vague ideas to, concrete levers you can pull.
That's a fantastic point, because the real kicker with Helmer's 7 Powers is realizing that just being good or even strong, it's often not enough for the long haul. True power, in his view, is explicitly relative. It's about your strength compared to a specific competitor or against those market forces trying to eat your profits.
So you have to ask, what's our unique moat? What protects us?
Exactly. And a viable strategy, according to Helmer, needs at least one of these 7 types of power. It's not just theory. It's this unitary focus.
It makes strategy learnable, applicable.
Yeah, for anyone in business, it gives you a shared language for thinking about sustainable advantage.
So it's not just being good. You have to be better or different in a way that's hard to copy.
Right. Creates that edge.
And the conditions for this power, they involve how industry economics, like supply, demand, costs.
Switching costs, things like that.
Right. How those interact with a specific company's position in that landscape.
Understanding that interaction is key. It helps you find where real defensible advantage lies, not just, making general improvements everyone else can copy.
Okay, so give us some examples from Helmer. How does this play out?
Sure. Let's take cornered resources. This isn't just having a resource. It's having one that's clearly better and really hard for others to get.
Like a patent.
Exactly. Drug patents are the classic example. They form the foundation of branded pharma businesses. That promise of secure power, basically a monopoly for a time.
Justifies the huge R&D spending.
It does. Billions poured into risky research. Without that cornered resource, the incentive just wouldn't be there.
Okay, what's another one?
Counter-positioning. This is really interesting. It's about inventing a new business model that incumbents find really difficult to copy.
Creates a dilemma for them.
Precisely. A damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. A challenger comes in with a whole new way of doing things.
Like Netflix versus Blockbuster.
Classic example. Netflix's subscription and streaming model completely counterpositioned Blockbuster's stores and late fees. Blockbuster couldn't easily copy it without killing their existing business.
Aye.
So this new model, often offering a whole product solution, gives the challenger a massive advantage right from the start.
That's fascinating, creating an almost unfair advantage. And speaking of being different, That brings us to blue ocean strategy.
Ah, yes, another powerful idea.
It takes it even further, suggesting you don't even need to compete in existing markets sometimes.
Those red oceans, as they call them. Bloody competition, tight margins.
Exactly. Instead, it's about creating totally new, uncontested market spaces, where competition is kind of irrelevant.
It's a real shift in perspective, away from fighting over existing demand.
Towards creating new demand.
Right. But the question is, how do companies actually do that? It's not just luck.
No, there's a methodology, right? Frameworks to change the game.
Exactly. The core idea is shifting focus, creating a fundamentally new value proposition. Think about Viagra.
It wasn't just a medical treatment.
No, it became a lifestyle enhancement, massively broadened its appeal. Or Starbucks.
They didn't just sell coffee.
Right. They transformed it from a commodity to an emotional experience. The atmosphere, the third place idea, it wasn't just about the drink. They created a blue ocean in coffee.
Redefining value completely, often by asking, what can we eliminate, reduce, raise, or create?
That's the framework.
And it can work the other way too, right? From emotional to functional.
Yeah, the Direct Line Group example in the UK insurance market shows that. They got rid of traditional brokers.
Assuming customers didn't need the hand-holding.
Right. If the service itself was better, more direct, more efficient, they stripped away that intermediary to deliver something more functional. Shows blue oceans can be found by simplifying, too.
Okay, but even with brilliant strategies, companies can still mess up, become their own worst enemy sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the biggest traps is marketing myopia. Theodore Levitt's idea.
The danger of getting too focused on your product.
Exactly. And losing sight of your customers' actual needs, which are always evolving. It's a kind of short-sightedness that can creep up on you.
It feels like a timeless problem. Levitt used the petroleum industry example, didn't he?
He did. Said they were often asking for trouble by focusing just on oil, the product, thinking it was indispensable.
But their growth really came from other innovations.
Largely, yes. The car engine, airplanes, plastics, things that used oil but weren't innovations in oil itself. They were selling a commodity, not really solving the broader need for energy or transport.
Focusing on mass production, the company's needs, not the customers, makes you vulnerable.
Totally. It's that classic question. Are you selling drills or are you selling holes? What's the real need?
And Clayton Christensen's Innovator's Dilemma takes this even further. Shows how even supposedly good management practices can actually,
ironically, lead to downfall.
yeah, when faced with disruptive technologies. It seems so counterintuitive.
It really does. The very things that made you succeed, good execution, quality focus, listening to your best customers, can trap you when something disruptive comes along.
How does that happen? Resource dependence theory.
That's a key part of the explanation. Successful companies get optimized around their current customers, their current tech, their financial models.
And those internal systems, resources, processes, values.
Exactly. They make it incredibly hard, almost impossible, to embrace something new, especially if it's less profitable initially or seems inferior by current metrics.
Like the DEC example.
Yeah.
Digital Equipment Corporation.
Perfect example. Hugely successful with mini computers. But they had these ingrained values, like needing 50% gross margins for a good business.
So when PCs came along with lower margins,
They just didn't fit, didn't meet the criteria.
Yeah.
So DEC prioritized the higher margin mini computers, even though they saw PCs coming. Their values effectively blocked them from competing in that disruptive space.
wow, too good at what they used to do.
It's a cautionary tale.
Okay, so if established giants can get tripped up, how do newer companies handle growth, especially in uncertain times? Blitzscaling comes up here.
Right. Reid Hoffman's concept, sacrificing efficiency for speed, rapid expansion, taking big risks.
Like a land grab.
Kind of. Race to get massive scale fast. But, and this is crucial, he cautions.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. It's a specific tool for specific situations, not a universal rule.
And LinkedIn, which Hoffman co-founded, they didn't blitzscale early on.
No, they deliberately chose a slow and steady path. They felt competitors like Plaxo didn't really grasp the professional network potential.
Saw it more like a casual address book.
Yeah. LinkedIn saw the deeper value in professional identity networking. So their reading of the market let them avoid maybe inefficient fast growth that could have diluted their core.
Shows you need that deep market understanding to make the right strategic choice, not just chase growth for growth's sake.
And this ties into strategic flexibility, too. The idea that companies get locked into these trajectories.
Shaped by past decisions, sometimes years before a crisis hits.
Right. And managers become unwilling or maybe unable to change course. Mental models, sunk costs, existing structures, they all reinforce the current path.
Like being on the wrong train track, but switching seems too hard.
That's a great analogy. And strategy isn't static, it's this dynamic pattern over time.
So companies need to constantly adjust, depending on whether the industry is fragmented, emerging, maturing, like Porter talks about.
Exactly. That constant adaptation, that foresight. It's vital for long-term survival, requires almost continuous strategic reevaluation.
Effective leadership, teams, and organizational culture.
Okay, let's shift gears. From the big picture strategy to, well, the daily reality of getting work done.
Boots on the ground.
Right. And Andy Grove's high output management is a classic here. Reminds us business is about teams, not just individuals working alone.
Such a fundamental point. And Grove's core insight is super clear. The output of a manager is the output of the organizational units under his or her supervision or influence.
So the manager's job is to increase the team's output.
Yes, which leads to the idea of managerial leverage, choosing tasks that have the highest impact on the team's performance.
Like training, setting clear goals, giving feedback.
Things that multiply your effort through the team rather than you just doing more tasks yourself.
And this applies to meetings too, right? Grove had strong views on meetings.
Oh, definitely. They can be huge time wasters or incredibly productive. He argued the chairman is ultimately responsible if a mission-oriented meeting fails.
Because if you don't know what you want, you won't get it.
Exactly. Have a clear objective, a desired outcome, before you even call the meeting. Saves so much time.
And what about the dynamics in the meeting, that peer group syndrome?
Ah, yes, that fear of speaking up, disagreeing. Everyone nods along, even if they have doubts.
Happens all the time.
It does. Grove says overcoming it requires self-confidence from team members. And that comes from being familiar with the issue, having experience, and crucially,
realizing no one ever died from a wrong business decision.
yes,
Yeah.
that gut-level realization. Managers need to actively build an environment where people feel safe enough to have honest debate, even when it's uncomfortable.
So beyond just managing tasks in meetings, effective leadership is really about building culture.
Absolutely. And blitzscaling, surprisingly, talks about culture as a substitute for bureaucracy.
How does that work?
Well, you have a strong shared culture, clear values, understood goals. It can guide behavior more effectively than a thick rule book, especially when you're scaling fast.
So you need less formal control.
Potentially, yes. Drew Houston at Dropbox, he tells new hires they'll soon be old school too, and it's their job to keep the good parts of the culture alive.
Making everyone a steward of the culture.
Exactly. Deliberate transmission. Reed Hastings at Netflix aimed for freedom by setting context. Strong culture, clear context, less need for rigid rules.
That echoes Peter Drucker too, doesn't it? Building a true team, welding individual efforts into a common one.
Yes, that orchestration idea. Making the whole greater than the sum of its parts.
And leadership styles matter too. Daniel Goleman's work identified several.
Right. Visionary, coaching, affiliative, democratic, pace-setting, coercive.
Yeah.
The idea being that the best leaders are flexible. They adapt their style.
Use the right tool for the job.
Pretty much. The coercive style, do what I say, might work in a crisis, a turnaround, or with a problem employee.
A short-term fix.
Yeah, but use it constantly. It crushes motivation, flexibility, kills the mood.
Whereas the authoritative style, come with me, sets the vision, but gives freedom on how to get there.
Exactly. Works well when a team needs direction, but not micromanagement. And this connects to blue ocean leadership, too.
Tailoring leadership for different levels. Top, middle, front line.
Yes. Unleashing talent throughout the organization by understanding the different needs and contexts at each level.
Peter Drucker also had those 8 simple rules for effective executives.
Deceptively simple, but powerful. Asking what needs to be done, what's right for the enterprise, focusing on opportunities.
Not just problems, having action plans, taking responsibility.
Running productive meetings thinking we, not I. All fundamental habits.
And that built-in evaluation for action plans seems key. Checking progress halfway at the end.
Absolutely. Ensures accountability, allows course correction, makes execution rigorous.
And then there's the human element, John C. Maxwell. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That really hits home, doesn't it? It's about connection.
When a leader truly connects, what happens?
You see it. Loyalty, Strong work ethic, the leader's vision becomes the team's aspiration. Southwest Airlines under Herb Kelleher is a prime example.
That legendary culture. He put employees first, right?
He famously said, "The employee is always right." Fostered incredible connection and loyalty.
Which underscores the need for accountability, too, but maybe built on that trust.
Exactly. The discipline of teams talks about turning vision into action, breaking down challenges, brainstorming, clear deadlines.
Making it concrete.
Yes. And importantly, embracing productive conflict.
Not avoiding disagreement.
No, the goal is the best solution, fast. Avoiding conflict just leads to tension, back-channel attacks, clear deadlines for decisions, forced resolution, and commitment.
Brings things out in the open constructively.
Navigating the complexities of finance and markets.
Okay, let's pivot to finance. It's easy to get swept up in the daily market noise, isn't it?
Very easy. The headlines, the quick gains.
But a random walk down Wall Street really pushes back on that short-term focus for investing in stocks.
Right. Malkiel emphasizes that a lot of the risk in stocks can be reduced by adopting a long-term view, a buy-and-hold strategy.
Because the short term is so volatile.
Extremely. The S&P 500 averaged about 10% from 1950 to 2017, which sounds great, which single years went from over 50% gains to, well, negative 37% losses.
Wow, so for money you need soon.
Like in the next year or two. A treasury bill, a CD, something stable is much more appropriate. Align your timeline with your goals.
And Benjamin Graham's the intelligent investor, a cornerstone of value investing. He distinguishes between active and passive investing.
He does. And says both can work, but only if you know yourself well enough to pick the right one for you.
And then stick with it. Control costs and emotions.
Crucially, self-awareness is key. Graham's big insight is that risk isn't just in the market, it's often within us. Our psychology, our impatience.
So value investors, they focus on price versus actual value.
Pretty much just those two variables, looking for that gap between what a business is truly worth its assets, earnings, prospects, and what the market is pricing it at.
Without getting caught up in market timing or complex models.
Right. They're not trying to predict the market's mood, just buying good businesses for less than they're worth, believing the market will eventually catch on.
But finance isn't always so principled. Den of Thieves. That paints a pretty dark picture of the 80s.
Oh yeah. A stark look at insider trading, corporate greed on Wall Street. Really raises questions about market integrity.
We see examples like Ivan Boteski trading on inside tips.
Exactly. Information from Marty Siegel about upcoming deals, like Notomis Co. They structured it carefully to avoid detection.
And Michael Milken, the junk bond king, backing guys like Boteski.
Yes, even taking a personal stake in Boteski's operation, tying them together. And Milken was aggressively creating junk bonds because demand for these speculative investments actually outstripped the natural supply. Shows the systemic pressures.
And more recently, The Big Short, the subprime mortgage crisis.
A grim story. The illusion of stability masking just catastrophic risk.
With a few people seeing it coming, betting against the system.
Right. People like Steve Eisman, Michael Burry, paying premiums on credit default swaps, while these subprime bonds seemed weirdly stable, despite defaults rising.
Until the cracks showed. HSBC losses, Merrill Lynch.
Exactly. And Burry, who saw it so early, he famously locked up his investors' money in those swaps, sending this defiant letter. Incredible conviction, almost antisocial confidence.
He really believed his analysis.
He did. And his early bets against specific mortgage pools, seeing those delinquency rates spike, proved him right. But it was a tough ride.
History repeats itself sometimes. Business Adventures talks about the 1962 stock market panic.
A technical glitch back then, communication breakdown, amplified the chaos. Shows how fragile systems can be under stress.
And the Edsel failure is in there too, right? Ford's big flop?
Yes. A reminder that even huge companies with tons of research can get it spectacularly wrong if they misread the customer or the market shifts. And looking at finance's role, finance and technical change points out that financiers can be innovative too, not just entrepreneurs building things.
How so?
Especially during big tech revolutions. Financial bubbles, while dangerous, were often these massive credit creation processes needed to install those new technologies. Finance drives disruption too.
But there's a warning too. The value of everything talks about rent-seeking.
Right. Mariana Mazzucato's point. Lobbying for rules that let you extract profit without actually creating value, like leading up to the 1929 crash. It fuels instability, diverts capital from productive uses.
Now, it's tempting to think of a country's economy like a big company, isn't it? Apply business logic to national policy.
Very tempting, especially for business leaders advising governments. But Paul Krugman's "A country is not a company" argues strongly against that.
Why? What's the fundamental difference?
Well, an economist knows a country's overall balance of payments must balance to zero. Sales to foreigners versus purchases from them. A trade deficit has to be matched by foreigners investing in your country, a capital account surplus.
So buying Japanese cars means the U.S. has to be selling something else. Goods, services, assets like bonds.
Exactly. It always balances. Business people often miss this national-level interconnectedness. They might think expanding their company's exports automatically helps the whole country's trade balance, but it doesn't work that simply.
A company can go bust. A country usually doesn't in the same way.
Fundamentally different systems. What works for a corporate P&L doesn't map directly onto a national economy with its complex interdependencies and social goals.
Personal agency and the path to growth.
So, after strategy, leadership, finance, it all seems to come back to the individual, doesn't it?
In many ways, yes.
Stephen Covey's work gets mentioned. That inside-out approach, I find that really compelling.
It is the idea that real, lasting effectiveness starts within you, with your paradigms, your character, your motives.
Private victories precede public victories.
That's the core of it. It's pointless trying to improve relationships or use personality techniques if your underlying character isn't solid.
Like if you want a happy marriage, be the kind of person who creates that positive energy.
Exactly. Or if you want trust, be trustworthy. It starts with you. And this connects directly to Covey's second habit. Begin with the end in mind.
Okay, tell us more about that. What does that mean, practically?
It means having a clear understanding of your destination, knowing where you're going so you can better understand where you are now and ensure the steps you take are always in the right direction.
Like having a personal vision.
Precisely. Developing a personal mission statement, something that defines your core values, your ultimate goals. It acts as your personal constitution, your guiding star.
So it's about creating it mentally first.
Yes, that's the principle. All things are created twice. First, the mental creation, the plan, the vision, the design. Then the physical creation, the actual building, the action. If you don't take charge of the first creation, you default to other people's agendas or just circumstances.
That really ties into taking responsibility, like Eleanor Roosevelt saying, "No one can hurt you without your consent."
Or Gandhi. They cannot take away our self-respect if we do not give it to them. It's about owning our emotional responses, choosing how we react.
Cultivating that inner freedom.
Absolutely. And realizing, okay, I am where I am today because of choices I made yesterday. That's not blame. It's empowerment.
Because it means you can choose differently tomorrow.
Exactly. I choose otherwise. Suddenly, difficult experiences aren't just negative. They can be crucibles. They forge character, build resilience. It's a shift from being reactive to being proactive, which is Covey's first habit, leading into the second. You need that proactivity to even begin with an end in mind.
And our language shows whether we're being reactive or proactive.
Oh, definitely. Reactive language transfers responsibility. He makes me so mad. There's nothing I can do. I have to.
As if you have no choice.
Right. Whereas proactive language owns it. I can choose a different approach. I control my own feelings. I will. It comes from that sense of self-responsibility.
And focusing on your circle of influence.
Yes. Versus the wider circle of concern. Proactive people focus their energy on things they can actually do something about: their health, their skills, their relationships, expanding their influence.
Instead of worrying endlessly about things they can't control, like politics or the economy.
Exactly. That just drains energy. Focusing on your circle of influence empowers you. It aligns with deliberately shaping your life based on that end in mind.
So the problems we face, direct control, indirect control, no control.
Right. Direct control is about our own behavior, our habits. Indirect is about other people's behavior. No control is, well, the stuff we can't change, like the past.
And the proactive approach starts within our circle of influence for all three.
Yes. Direct control problems. Work on your habits, your character, those private victories. Indirect control. Change your methods of influence. Learn better ways to communicate and connect. Don't just keep doing what doesn't work.
And the no control problems.
That requires acceptance. Genuine serenity to accept what you can't change, learn from it, and not let it control you emotionally. It's that wisdom to know the difference, right? And live according to your chosen values, your end in mind, regardless.
Okay, if changing habits is so central, how do we actually do it? The power of habit has that loop.
The habit loop, cue, routine, reward, super useful framework.
So you identify the cue and the reward,
And then consciously choose a new routine that delivers the same reward. That's the key.
Like the snacking example. If the reward is breaking boredom,
Find another way to break boredom. Take a walk, chat with someone, quick internet break. Something that satisfies that craving for distraction without the calories.
or smoking, understanding why you smoke helps find alternatives. Nicotine, stimulation, social.
Exactly. Is it the nicotine or the ritual or the break? Understanding the reward lets you engineer a better routine. It's deliberate habit design.
That systematic approach feels similar to the lean startup mindset.
It does, doesn't it? Systematically figuring out the right thing to build or the right habit to form through experimentation, learning, adapting.
Validated learning for yourself.
Yeah. And this connects back to culture, too, like Dropbox deliberately trying to recreate the culture.
Making new employees aware they're responsible for keeping it going.
Right. That deliberate transmission ensures the values, the end in mind for the organization, persists. It's about consciously shaping the future, whether it's a company's or your own.
And finally, personal growth often includes financial well-being. Rich dad, poor dad.
Challenges conventional thinking, definitely.
The core lesson being, have money work for you.
Yes. Learn financial literacy. Build assets that generate income, rather than just trading your time for a paycheck forever.
And he also stresses giving. If you want something, first give.
An interesting point. And it echoes ancient wisdom, too, like from the richest man in Babylon.
They save a tenth, control spending, make your money work.
Put your treasure to labor wisely. Avoid risky schemes, tricksters. It's about disciplined, long-term financial stewardship.
And the millionaire next door, finding most millionaires are first-generation rich.
About 80% in their study. Self-made through frugality, hard work, investing.
But the wealth often disappears in later generations.
Sadly, yes. Highlights that accumulating wealth is an ongoing process. Discipline, financial education. It's not just about inheriting assets, but inheriting the values and knowledge to manage them. That needs to be passed on too.
Outro. Wow, what a deep dive that was. From strategic battles in the marketplace.
Relative power, blue oceans.
Right. To the internal battles, controlling habits, charting our own course. It's so clear understanding these principles is crucial.
It really is. We saw how power is relative, how being too product-focused can blindside companies,
How leadership builds culture, connection.
and how personal agency ultimately starts inside, with character, proactive choices, defining your end in mind.
And connecting it all. That forward-looking perspective seems key, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Whether it's strategy, finance, personal growth, it's about understanding the forces, anticipating, making deliberate choices.
Not just reacting.
No, creating the future you want based on that clear vision. The value is synthesizing all this, really. It all points back to beginning with the end in mind.
So for everyone listening, what does this mean? The lesson isn't just, knowing this stuff.
It's about applying it, bringing it to life.
So moving forward, you need to identify what you want, begin with that end in mind.
And then chart the path. Anticipate challenges, adapt, but keep that purpose clear. Make the mental creation real.
So maybe a final thought for everyone to chew on.
Yeah, maybe ask yourself this week. In your own life, where are you maybe prioritizing reaction over deliberate creation? And what's one small, consistent action you could take, starting now, to begin shaping your desired end into a tangible now? Could be drafting that mission statement, could be tackling one habit.
Just starting that process. Great thought. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep digging for those insights.
And keep building that future.